Welcome. The purpose of this video is to explain two things. One is how to do this problem number 28 from chapter 12's homework assignment, and the second reason for doing this video is to show you how to use Microsoft Excel equation editor. That's a useful Microsoft program, but probably not one you've used before. So right in front of you, what you see is the data from problem 28 about predicting quarterback salary. So someone asked me about this, so I was just working out the answer, and then I thought it was a great opportunity to both show you how to do this problem and also show you how to use equation editor. So first thing I'm going to do is show you how to do this problem. What you want to do here is run a regression analysis. So we're going to go into data and then data analysis, which is way over here on the side. Data analysis. And I already ran it. You can see it underneath there. Regression. And then we're going to highlight the Y range, which is the output, or in this case it's the salary. So that's that column C right there. And then the X input range, in this case, we're going to do these three together. So we're just going to highlight from D1 to F53, and then we're going to be careful to click this button for labels, and then we have our output range, and that's that. So now let's just take a look here. We get the data output. Let's just talk a little bit about this real quick. So here we go. What this tells us is the R square. This tells us the strength of the relationship between the variables, or in this case it's going to tell us how our variables fit in the model, I guess the model fit. Down here, the adjusted R square, this takes into account multiple variables, the fact that we've got three different independent variables, and it adjusts the strength of the relationship. So this is the strength when accounting for all X variables. Then right here we've got the standard error. The standard error tells us when we do our prediction line, this is the amount of error around the line. Okay, now we go down here and we're going to look at our model. So first thing I always like to do with the model is change the decimals, because it makes me crazy. I'm going to hide this. Makes me crazy that there's so many decimals here and you can't really see what you're looking at. So I like to go up here into home and just get it equal. Sometimes you have to go up a little bit to get it to come down. Let's just make it 3, that's fine, and then we can kind of make sense of those numbers. We can see that we've got a significant F value, and that's a good thing. And then let's go down here and do the same exact decimals down. Okay, so the first thing I look at when I get a regression model is this F. This needs to be low. Alright, so if we got zeros here, we're happy, right? So this value should be very small. The smaller the better, actually. Okay, so we've got this, we want this value to be very small, and by the same token we want this value to be large. This value to be very large. The larger the better. So just to show you there, I got it written nice and big. This, you might recognize, this whole thing together is the ANOVA table. So this F value comes from this MS divided by the residual. So we can do this. We should get the same number, and voila, we do. So again, you don't have to necessarily know all the details of this, but knowing how that F gets arrived upon is really important. Basically what that tells you is about the number of standard deviations away from the mean our values would be if they are chance of error. So this is our chance of error right here, which is very small. And then down here, these are coefficients. So this is our intercept. So this is beta 0. So there you go, beta 0. Sometimes you'll hear me call it beta naught. And then we also have beta 1. And then we got beta 2. We're going to put that there. And then beta 3 here. And then we're going to just change those there. So here we have now beta 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so basically these are in the y hat equation, these are the various slopes. This is the intercept, this is the slope for 1, which is the percent pass, this is touchdowns, and then this is age. So then what I did was I went down here and I wrote this out for Drew Brees. So first thing I want to show you is this little equation here. Looks so fancy, but how you do it is you go here to insert, then you go over to equation, and just click on any equation. We're just going to change the whole thing. It's just any old one. Sometimes you can put insert a new equation, but sometimes it doesn't let you. So anyhow, we're going to go in here, and we're going to want to get rid of this first because we don't need something like that. Instead, we're going to write I guess I already did Breeze, so I'll do Brady. Brady equals. But in getting rid of that, I have to get back in the equation. So see here, I have nothing up here in purple that says equation tools, but when I click over here, I get this tools back. So sometimes you kind of slip out of it. And I kind of like the font that the equation editor gives you. So I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to write Brady, and then I'm going to do the right arrow key because that's going to scoot me over a little bit, and I'm going to put my equal sign, and then I'm going to put in the betas that I want for my equation. So right there I'm going to put in a script, so I need this, and I'm going to put wait, I got a mess here, I got to fix this. Equals. Alright, let's see here. So this is going to be the beta, which is going to be right there. And this is beta naught first, so beta 0. Then I'm going to hit the right arrow key, and then I'm going to hit plus. And then I'm going to replace this C with one of these instead. And I'm going to put beta 1 there. Hit the right arrow key and the plus sign, and then I'll do beta 2, beta 2, that worked out nicely, and beta 3. I can copy this if I want, stick it over here. Now I've forgotten something also, so I need to also have in here another one of these things where I can have x sub 1. So I'll put that here, x and 1, and then, oops, right here. And then I need x sub 2. And if when you click it over here, if you get it too close to the 3, you got to hit that right arrow key, or else it will copy it into the sub thing, and then it'll be too small. So it requires a little bit of finesse here, messing with it. So now, down here for Brady, we're going to get rid of all this. And now, we're going to, so this was for Breeze, so you can see that, but now I'm going to change it to be Brady. So we're going to have the same intercept, we're going to have the same B1, but now instead of 70.6 for Brady, we're going to have to go find what his completion percentage is. So I just typed in there 65.7 because that is the completion percentage that goes with his
So I just typed in this
with that
5.7 because that is
B1 coefficient. And then here we've got touchdowns, so we've got the 0.7850, and then we got to put in this touchdowns, which is 28.382
and then
times
touchdowns, so we've got the 0.7850, and then we got to put in
his age, which is 32. So we'll put in that 32.
382.
And now when we type that in like that, it doesn't give us an answer. We have to go down and type it in below, but this shows you how to use equation editor, you know, how to get it and how to fix it. You can do all kinds of things with it. So for many of you, you need to write your formulas using that. Okay, and then we'll do our calculation right here. So what I'm going to do is copy this formula that I have for breeze here, and I'm going to Control C and then hit escape, and then go down here, and then I'm going to hit Control V. When you do it like this, it keeps everything the same, which is what I wanted to do. I didn't want all my coefficients to roll, so now I can just change these down here. I don't have to retype the whole thing because it's kind of a hassle. So now that's the number. We end up with Brady's prediction for salary. Now, of course, he's making a little less than that, but that would be his predicted salary there. So anyways, I just wanted to show you both how to do this problem and how to use equation editor. If you did this problem and you just copied these numbers in, so if you just copied in 65.7 into here like this, and then 28 and 32, and you don't have these to 4 decimals, you may get numbers that are slightly off, but it's much more important to just get how to do this, how to read this table, and how to compute the y-hat. Essentially, that's what we can compute it here. So I hope this is helpful, and hopefully you'll be able to get your document turned in by Sunday night at midnight. So for the final part of this quick little video, I just wanted to show you how I want assignment 2 to be organized. So I just pulled this data out of the homework data set for Chapter 12. And we got compensation, adjusted ROA, adjusted returns, and total assets. So for this little example, I'm just going to have an independent and a dependent variable. So I'm going to get rid of the other data. So I just put it all right here into sheet 1. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to say that adjusted ROA ought to have some influence on compensation for executives. So I need to first decide which of these is going to be my independent and which is going to be my dependent variable. So I'm going to copy this over here. Compensation is going to be dependent, of course, on ROA. So I'm going to copy that over here. Now, most of you, I suppose, are going to have years over here because many of you have everybody I've worked with so far today, I think I've worked with 6 people, everybody has had some relationship to time. But in this case, I don't have that. So this is adjusted ROA. So this is the independent variable. So I'm going to label this down here. And then over here, sheet 2, this is my dependent variable, because compensation in theory ought to be reliant on, in some way, adjusted ROA. Now, so those are my 2 tabs, and then I asked you to put this into 12-point New Times Roman font. So I find the easiest way to do this is click on this box here in the upper left-hand corner, and I have my default set to be New Times Roman, so it just comes up like that, and it's 13, so 13 is fine, or I think I said 12, so I guess I should make it 12. And then on the same with the independent variable, we're going to change this one to, oh, I guess this one's totally different, so we're going to times and 12. Okay, so that's those 2. Then on the third tab, I want this tab to be a little bit of your analysis and that sort of thing. So on the directions, I tell you I want you to have 3 sections, and the first section is data description, so we're going to copy this over here, and then I've got analysis, put that down here, and the model, which is here. Okay, now I've got mine are kind of a mess here, but I'm going to show you what I want you to do. So take your data, your first tab here, which is going to be data analysis, and highlight a substantial number of cells. I'll just say that many, like that. And then go up here and hit merge and center, and then left and top. So now this is going to work just like a Microsoft Office document, so that when you cut this out of here to put it into your paper, which is what you're going to do hopefully, you won't have text running off the page and all that weird stuff that happens in Excel. Now the one last thing we have to do is hit this wrap text, so that when we put stuff in here, it'll wrap around. So I'm just going to grab this that I had from the example. We're going to put it in here and hit return. So see how it wraps the text around, it doesn't just run it off the page. And you know, I have way too much space here because I'm not going to put that much in there. But another couple things that I want to make sure you know how to do is, if I wanted to say put a line in here, because this is, I want it to be on a second line, for example, I can hit alternate return, and that puts a return in there. So see how it drops down? And then I could highlight this. So like, for example, I might want to highlight or make this bold, data description. So it makes that bold. I probably want to get rid of this A, because I can put that over here. There's A. Okay, and then I don't know, if you wanted to do something like the way I have this written, it's kind of bulleted like this, so I might want to put in a return here. In order to adequately test the hypothesis put forth, blah blah blah. And then in mine I have this italicized, so you don't have to do that, but I mean just to show you. So that is the way these should look. I'll fix up these other two for you. So you can see I've got my 3 tabs here. I guess I might want to put a B here and a C here, or 1, 2, 3 is another way you could do this. And maybe put those over right next to this. And then down here in the model, here, what I'd like to see you do with this is use Microsoft Equation Editor. So let's just say that in this thing here that we're showing, we think that there should be a relationship between adjusted ROA and executive compensation. So one possible way to show this would be that we expect there to be a slope between between ROA and executive compensation. That would suggest a relationship of some sort. So if our hypothesis, our null hypothesis, would be that there is no relationship between ROA and executive compensation, that would be our null, and then our alternative hypothesis would be that there is a relationship between executive compensation, or excuse me, between ROA and executive compensation. And the way we're going to see that is with a slope that is significant. So we would write that out in words, and we would also write it out in scientific notation. So first, let's write it in words. So we might write something like this, that the null is that ROA and executive compensation are not related, and the alternative is ROA and executive compensation are related. Okay, now we want to write this mathematically. So here is where we're going to use our Microsoft Equation Editor. So we're going to start with this. We're going to go up here to data. We're going to go up here to insert equation. And we want a new equation here, so we're going to just click on this. And I'm going to make it a little bigger so you can see it better. And what I want is the HO, so I'm going to go to Equation Tools, I'm going to go into Script here, and I'll type in here H and O. Is going to be, we want to do a colon, so you see how my cursor is blinking right next to the 0, it's kind of a subscript, so I need to hit that right arrow to get out of that, but stay in Equation Editor. So the HO is beta 1, so we're going to go up here, we got that, we click here, beta 1, that's our slope, is equal to 0. That's our null, right? Because that null suggests that there is no relationship between these two variables. That would mean that the slope would be equal to 0. And then we'll have our alternative hypothesis. So I would just copy this, Control C, set it down here, and then just amend it. You can retype the whole thing if you want, but this will be HA, the alternative, beta 1, not equal to 0 is all we need to say here. And there we have it. That's our model, and here's our words. And that's all you need to do. Now, you should also have a section down here that's called references. Now, this is not in the rubric, so you don't have to do this, but you at this point ought to have your references. And they ought to be in here in APA format. And if you don't know what APA format is by now, you need to look that up. I'll put a couple in here for you to look at. Like I said, you don't have to have this, but you need to have this somewhere, because at this point your research, your lit review, etc. ought to be finished, and you ought to have this stuff correct. So putting in a few references here gives you, a chance to get some free feedback if you want. But nonetheless, I didn't put that in the original assignment, so if you didn't do it, it's okay. But I'm just going to put a couple in here just so everybody knows what they ought to look like. Okay, so here I just stuck in a few references there. These are all journal articles. The big thing that I noticed people doing with references is giving me the link. I don't need the link. I just need to know where you got the stuff from. So, so please take a look at the APA manual, or you can go online and look up APA references. And I think in many cases when you download the reference from the library, you can also choose the APA format, and it will give you the proper site. So here's what I mean. I was looking this up for someone, the infant mortality rate, and here we can go to index, terms and details, or citation. And when I get over here to citation, APA, so here it is right here. So we take this, but we don't need to bring with us the URL, so let's just put this in here. We'll see what it looks like. So this is number 4, so we'll put the 4 in there. National Center for Disease Statistics 2017, blah blah blah, selected years, ProQuest statistical abstract, online version retrieved from. Okay, so here you can just nix all that. We don't need that. So there you go. You got it. That's all you have to have. Okay? So, I hope this is helpful. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have power. and I look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday and being able to spend a little time going through some questions about regression analysis. Pretty important stuff. So, see you later.